I need to talk to you about something that's been kind of keeping me up at night. It's not my server room fans and it's not a wonky automation causing my lights to come on at 3 in the morning. It's actually not my smart home that's keeping me awake at all. It's yours. The smart home industry is heading down a dark path, and if we don't pay attention, we're going to wake up one day to find that the smart homes that we've built have become surveillance devices for corporations. Devices that work against our best interests and still somehow cost us money every month. It doesn't have to be this way though. Stick around for a bit and let me explain what's happening, why it matters, and most importantly, what you can do about it. Software is broken. Not technically broken, although let's be honest, there's plenty of that going around too, but philosophically broken. AI is being shoved into everything, whether it needs it or not. Corporate greed has turned every app into a subscription model, and cloud computing has invaded spaces where it has absolutely no business being. Like your home, for example. Just think about it for a second. Why exactly does your light bulb need to talk to a server in California before you can turn it on? Why does your doorbell upload footage to somebody else's computer? Why do you need an internet connection to adjust your thermostat? Let's just be clear about something, because I'm not sure everybody fully understands what the cloud actually is. There's no such thing as the cloud as an entity. It's not a thing. Your data isn't floating magically in the sky. The cloud is just a marketing term we adopted for this is stored on somebody else's computer. Your data is sat on a server somewhere in the world that you don't own and you have no control over. The answer to why this exists isn't technical, it's financial. Cloud connectivity gives companies things that they want. Ongoing revenue through subscriptions, valuable data that they can monetize, and control over devices that you thought you owned. In fact, I was kind of wrong to say that software is broken, because for them it's working exactly as intended. But here's the scary part. It's getting worse. Just look at what's happening in the automotive industry. Car manufacturers discover that they can charge you monthly fees for features already built into your car. Heated seats? That's 15 quid a month. Thank you very much. Self-driving capabilities? 100 quid a month, right in their pocket. Now, the corporate apologists among you might say that self-driving capabilities are fair enough as it uses their servers. Well, let's just think about that for a second, shall we? Because does it really? Are you really telling me that if I'm driving around in the middle of a big city or out in the middle of the countryside, even in areas where I can't pick up FM radio, that somehow my car is talking to a server somewhere asking it how to take the next corner? No, I don't think it is. Self-driving capabilities are onboard processing. They have to be, otherwise it would be insanely dangerous. They're literally just using software locks to make you rent hardware that you already purchased. Now imagine that business model spreading to your entire home. Your smart lock stops working unless you pay £10 a month. Your security cameras require a subscription to view the live footage, or your smart plugs need a premium plan to schedule automations. Does that sound far-fetched to you? Several major smart home companies are already moving in this direction. The free tier gets worse, the paid tier becomes mandatory, and if the company decides to shut down their servers, your devices become expensive paperweights. You only need to look at the Google Nest thermostat to see that happening, literally now. A very expensive thermostat that some of us were unlucky enough to trust another company with before we knew better was bought out by a company we'd have never trusted, and now I can't automate my thermostat anymore. Google still collects data from it though. I mean, not mine, I disconnected it from the Wi-Fi a long time ago, but if you have a Nest thermostat and you've not disconnected it from the Wi-Fi, then you no longer benefit from the fact that it's a smart device anymore, but Google still do, as they're still siphoning off every bit of data it has on a daily basis. I thought that in this data and ad-driven future we'd at least not have to pay through the nose for these devices, but all of this stuff still costs a sodding fortune. Is this the future you wanted? Because it sure as hell isn't the one I wanted. Here's the good news, you don't have to accept this future. You can build a smart home right now that doesn't depend on corporate servers, monthly fees, or even an internet connection. A smart home you actually own. All you need is a spare computer to run it on. Doesn't even need to be a powerful one. A Raspberry Pi will do the job perfectly, or if you've got an old laptop gathering dust, that works too. I went a bit overkill with an Unraid server, but honestly you don't need to. Local control means your devices talk directly to a hub in your home. No cloud, no subscriptions, no company watching what you do in your own house. I'm talking about tools like Home Assistant, which is completely free and runs on hardware you control, or Node-RED for creating automations without coding, MQTT for devices to communicate locally, or Zigbee to MQTT to cut the cord from proprietary hubs. All you need is a cheap USB coordinator like the Sonoff dongle that I use, and suddenly all your Zigbee devices talk directly to your system instead of through the cloud. These aren't complex corporate products. They're open source projects built by communities that actually care about privacy and user control. And they work. My entire home runs locally. When my internet goes down, my lights still work, my automation still run, my security cameras still record, because none of it depends on the cloud. And the best part is it's actually more reliable, more private, and more powerful than any cloud-based system out there. Look, I get it. Cloud-based systems are easier to set up. They're marketed better, they come in prettier boxes, they're just more consumer-friendly in general. The "it just works" camp are not wrong there, but every time we choose convenience over control, we hand more power to companies that simply don't have our best interests at heart. We've seen what happens when companies control our digital lives. Services shut down, prices increase, privacy disappears, terms of service change overnight. How many of you out there were affected by the recent AWS and Cloudflare outages? I bet at least a few of you were unable to do any work for a few hours. How many of you couldn't change the temperature in your own home or turn the lights on in your living room? I didn't even notice. I found out about it from the news. Look, control of your home is too important to rent from a corporation. The devices you buy should work for you, not for their manufacturer's quarterly earnings report. If you bought it, it should be yours. If it's cloud controlled, it's still theirs. You only get to use it whilst they let you, and only in ways that they approve of. You rent it, you don't own it. Local control isn't just about privacy or reliability, it's about maintaining ownership of the technology in your own home. So what can you do? Start small. Pick one aspect of your smart home to bring local. Maybe it's your lighting, maybe it's your sensors, maybe it's just learning what Home Assistant can do. The learning curve exists, I won't lie, but honestly, it's not as steep as you think and the payoff is huge. It's a smart home that's actually yours. Also, in the last couple of years, locally controlled smart homes have become more and more user-friendly. There are companies out there right now that are making really easy to use products that don't rely on a cloud connection, and the local control movement is starting to gain so much momentum that companies are starting to pay attention. So there is hope, I'm just not willing to wait for it when I can have it right now. The future of smart homes doesn't have to be corporate controlled, subscription-based and privacy invasive, but only if we choose differently. So let's fight for something better. Links to the devices I mentioned in this video can be found in the description. Some of these may be affiliate links, which won't cost you a penny, but I'll get a little bit of money for everything you buy through those links. So it's a great way for you to support my channel, and I thank you in advance. If you want to learn more about these tools, I've got an entire series called What the Heck, where I break down Home Assistant, Node-RED, MQTT, and everything else you need to build a cloud-free smart home. Check them out. Links right here. Ta-ra!